Kebility has the ability to make your pockets weep. It's one of the most expensive medications in the world, and it's injected directly into the brain. Can you guess how much it costs? Kebility is used to treat something called AADC deficiency. Aromatic L-amino acid decarboxylase deficiency is a genetic disorder where the person's brain lacks an enzyme used to make neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. Babies with AADC deficiency basically can't develop mentally or physically. They simply exist on the floor with a feeding tube, crying and experiencing muscle spasms in their prison. It's super rare. We actually don't know how many people even have it. One estimate I saw was 1 in every 1.3 million people worldwide. Kebility is used to treat this disease by infusing a virus with human genetic material directly into the brain. The virus then gets tricked into making the human copies of the deficient enzyme and thereby correcting the disorder. Kebility is a miracle drug, and it can take a little baby like this, and 1 year after the one-time infusion, they can play peekaboo, pick themselves up, and even play with a string. So how much does it cost to save your baby's life? Right now, this one-time infusion costs $3.95 million.
That $3.95 million price reveals the scale of this system. Now follow the pharmacist balancing access, accuracy, safety, and relentless workloads behind every prescription.
Yo, I'm remembering, I'm just having memories come back, and I used to work at a 24-hour CVS in Carmel, Indiana. God, those patients were mean as hell. They're all trying to get you fired for something stupid, like not filling their Xanax a week early. But our pharmacy manager, I remember on his last day, he got a job at Amazon or whatever, and on his last day, he threw away his white coat. I was like, seeing his white coat in the trash was kind of what? Okay, yeah, I did not I did like my job at CVS for a time. I was really good at my job. It did fucking wear me down, of course, and tore me up. Y'all already know. Bits and pieces and come back. I for real like the hospital. The hospital's it's majorly chill. I will say majorly chill. It has its little bursts. And obviously I can spot a problem from a mile away, but that's not my business. I'm in my peaceful era. Okay. Well, I wouldn't say my peaceful era, but I'm not being a mess at work, let me tell you that. I'll be a mess in my free time.
I still miss working for the NHS, and it's the concept of working for an organisation or company that I miss sometimes, and that's primarily when I go for a break, because I want to switch off in terms of work-related things, but I've had 3 scenarios of emergencies in terms of we completely ran out of stock for one of our study guides while we were here, and I had to sort that out. I've got my tax due for my company, and I've been sorting that out in terms of last minute questions from my accountant. And I have some last minute adjustments for our new website that my web designer needs before I come back. So a lot of my day is stressing about these things, and when I was working for an organisation, all of that stress just was not there when I was on annual leave.
These are different pharmacists describing the same boundary: long shifts, no real recovery, thin staffing, and responsibility that never switches off.
I was tagged, so how great I imagine lunch is for a CVS pharmacist. No, this is definitely far from what a lunch is like at the pharmacy. So this video alone amassed hundreds of thousands of views. So of course I had to check the comment section, and one of the top comments is, why do they all have to leave at once? Which I don't know, I feel other healthcare facilities usually will be taking a lunch break, especially a primary care office. And then this comment really got me. It's, we aren't mad you all are having a lunch. It's that everywhere else on the planet has to stagger their lunches, and CVS is weirdly exempt from doing this. Maybe it's just me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I feel a McDonald's and a TJ Maxx is very different than a CVS pharmacy where we are dispensing medication, not furniture or burgers. And unfortunately, because we no longer have pharmacist overlap, pretty much these people are working 12 to 13 hours without a break. So they need this 30-minute break just to sit down for 30 seconds. Also, it is just 30 minutes that this pharmacy closes. If you have to go to a pharmacy between that 30-minute interval every single day, that's like a you problem or your work schedule problem, and you need to get that figured out. And this comment was the best one. Low-key want to work at a pharmacy just for the protected scheduled lunch break. I think I can say this for all retail pharmacy staff, but no one is working at a CVS or Walgreens because of the lunch break. When it comes to this lunch break, half the time people are either working during the lunch break or they're going out to their car to, have a nice cry sesh and eat their lunch. In the 12 years I worked at Walgreens, I never, ever ate lunch with more than like 1 or 2 people. Like, we never just had a whole kumbaya in the pharmacy during the lunch break.
You have the lack of support from, like, at least outpatient. For me, I can talk with that experience, like lack of support from management and corporate. And then on top of that, you have the patient abuse, where the patients are abusive. Patients are abusing healthcare workers, and healthcare workers are leaving in droves. And it's just making it so much worse because there's an issue like staffing clinics, pharmacies, hospitals. And then you have a bunch of new people coming in and a bunch of training. Because you're training people, you have increased risk of medication errors. Healthcare is struggling right now. So this is just a PSA, like, be kind to your healthcare providers, be kind to your nurses, your pharmacists, all of them. Be patient too. And then I'll also end this with, go to an urgent care versus your ER. Okay, retail pharmacy is much harder than the hospital. The workload is a lot more. You don't have as much staff. You don't have as much support. You don't have access really to the medical record unless you're attached to a hospital. You gotta work with bits and pieces. And, dare I say it, outpatient providers are a lot crazier than inpatient providers, I will say. Might get some heat for that one, but it's just the truth. The amount of crazy prescriptions I saw outpatient floored me. Like, everything. Everything was crazy. Dose wrong. Nothing was, like, renally dose adjusted for their, like, CKD. It was just crazy. Interactions all over the place. Like, doses. I don't know where these doses are coming from. Frequencies were messed up. Everything. It is not like that in the hospital. The craziest thing I feel like I will see in the hospital is, like, an antibiotic not dose adjusted properly, and I could just fix it. The providers in the hospital are a lot more on top of it, I will say, with like clinical knowledge and just like appropriate usage of things. They stay in their wheelhouse. I will not see really inpatient providers ordering things that are outside of their specialty and wheelhouse. Outpatient, Wild West. You have all these specialties prescribing all this random stuff. It's usually like primary, just prescribing just crazy stuff sometimes. This isn't a dig, this is an observation, because I verified hundreds of prescriptions a day for 3 years outpatient at CVS. And I did see a lot of providers prescribing like medications, like even like dentists and everything, like outside of their scope and specialty. But yes, retail pharmacy is very hard. It is grueling, physically, emotionally, mentally. You have providers yelling at you. You have patients yelling at you. You have your team members are all stressed out and understaffed and are all yelling at you. It's not for the weak. In the hospital, I am supported. I have like 7 other pharmacists that I'm working with a day. We're bouncing ideas off each other. I'm not alone. Outpatient, you're on your own. You got to figure it out yourself, boo. And if you find something that's not safe, like clearly not safe, and try to refuse that fill, you have the provider coming down on you, or the patient coming down on you, patient's calling corporate, boss is calling you, what's going on. It is too much. I stand by what I said. Inpatient is a lot easier overall when we're looking at everything. Yes, it is more clinical work, but pharmacists are able to learn that. It's just a different field of pharmacy.
I just picked up my Lexapro from CVS. The lady in front of me tells the pharmacy tech that she's picking up medication for her dog. The pharmacy tech goes, okay, cool, we just need your birthday. The lady looks dumbfounded. Why? It's a dog. It's for my dog. The tech goes, yes, we know. We just need to link it to your account. We're trying to pull up your account. She's like, well, I don't know my dog's birthday. I got my dog from the shelter. It's a dog. The tech, no, this is for your account. We're trying to pull up your account because it's your dog. We don't need your dog's birthday. But the medication's not for me. It's for my dog. How am I supposed to know my dog's birthday? I don't know my dog's birthday. I just know when we got him from the shelter. The tech, who patient, so patient. No, ma'am, we need your birthday for your account because it's your dog. Well, why are you pulling up my account? Pull up my dog's account. Ma'am, this is CVS. This is a human pharmacy. We don't have dog accounts. We have your account. This went on for like 2 to 3 minutes.
In case you're ever wondering, why does the pharmacy say my prescription may take like 15 or more so minutes? It's because there may be scenarios like this that is delaying us from getting your prescriptions refilled. Honestly, I think it should just be a law that in order to use a pharmacy, you need to at least work a day in a pharmacy, because it will completely make you realize like what actually happens at a pharmacy. Like the amount of times that people will either, not listen to what you're asking of them, or, just fight with you on the information that you do need. Then don't even get me started with the pharmacy drive-through, because that can even be delayed even more, especially like when it's like on the phone and the patient can't hear what you're saying. Or it could be me talking through a drawer, because at one of my Walgreens, like the phone thing didn't work. So I would have to be yelling through like the drawer. These are the top 5 things customers need to stop doing at the pharmacy. Number 1 is complaining. Pharmacists and the pharmacy technicians don't have time for that. Like for example, your prescription has been sent to your pharmacy yet? That's on your doctor, not on us. Or that you want to complain that we don't have a medication in stock. Just a PSA to everyone, but the pharmacies don't make the medications in the back of the pharmacy. It's all based on availability and they have zero control over it. Number 2 is expecting fast food service. There's a huge difference between a cheeseburger and some Xanax. Just because you order your medication through the drive-thru doesn't mean you're gonna get it right away. Honestly, with how some doctors are writing prescriptions these days, you want us to take our time when we're filling your medication. Number 3 is going to the pharmacy while we're on lunch. So a pharmacist finally getting a lunch, this started back in COVID times. It always bamboozles me when someone comes into the pharmacy and is shocked that they're on lunch. Honestly, all you need to do is just Google when the pharmacy is open and when they're closed. Number 4 is asking to just fill everything. Because so help me, if you are gonna ask us to fill everything, you are gonna pick up everything. This is just so important to actually know what you're taking. If you don't know or you're unsure, that's okay to ask your pharmacist. But finally deciding what you want at checkout is the most annoying thing and time-consuming thing. Because these pharmacy staff members took the time to fill your medication, it takes time away from other medications being filled. And finally, not knowing your insurance. Unless you're under the age of 18, you are a grown adult and you should know what insurance you have. So many times I've seen customers actually yell at pharmacy employees because they think that we are supposed to know what their insurance is.
Now connect the workload to risk. Quotas, insurance calls, vaccines, and interruptions all compete with the concentration medication safety requires.
I was tagged, what is going on in the pharmacy drive-thru?
Every 4 dollars. Yeah, you a sucker. Man, you talking about come outside then you want to fight then, sucker. Yeah, you talking about fuck, then you said fuck my medicine. You said fuck my medicine, did you? No. We got cameras, yeah, y'all got cameras and I got a camera. You a sucker. I guarantee you won't have your job tomorrow.
So if you're ever wondering, why is the pharmacy drive-thru so long? It's because things like this are happening. Scenarios like this have actually happened to me several times in the pharmacy drive-thru, and it's because, I don't know, people are just bored or, you know, they just want to have an argument. But also, I just need to say this, and I'm sorry if it comes off as rude, but if you are picking up a prescription and you have someone who's like driving for you, please have them do the talking. I understand you're picking up your prescription, but when you are on the passenger side, sometimes we cannot even hear what you are saying in the pharmacy. And I don't know, if you're the driver who's like sitting there while someone in the passenger is like yelling at the pharmacy, don't you feel awkward just being mute the whole time and having them try to talk and like yell into the intercom? There have been times when I have looked at the driver and I've been like, can you speak? Because I can't hear the passenger. And like, they're looking at me like I'm the crazy one and I'm just like, I can't hear anything this person's saying. And it's always someone who's just like whispering too. They're like, can I pick up my prescription? Or if I've been trying to repeat myself like 3-4 times, like the person in the passenger seat, like, what? I can't hear you. What? I can't hear you. And the driver's just like, and I'm like, hello, you. And I have to like look at them and they're like, who, me? I'm like, yes, you. You obviously can hear me. Can you tell them what I'm saying?
I'm glad to know that my long-standing beef with pharmacies still exists. Walgreens is up on the chopping block. Count your fucking days. I am so fed up with pharmacies. Like, I'm not kidding you. Every single month I go to fill my prescription, there's an issue.
Maybe it's just me, but if you're having problems every single month with a pharmacy, maybe it could be you, but also like, why would you keep using that pharmacy if you're having issues?
And while CVS might be the worst of them, I think Walgreens is second, because let me just tell you what happened here. So I take Vyvanse for ADHD and they treat me terribly every single time. They treat me like I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So I needed my prescription filled and they sent it to the wrong pharmacy.
Which, as usual, the pharmacy is the one to blame for your doctor sending the prescription to the wrong pharmacy.
So I call Walgreens and I speak to the woman. I said, hi, I'm just trying to see if my prescription is filled. And if it's not filled, what the status is so I can see what time I can pick it up. And she says, you know, the whole thing, name, blah, blah, blah. She puts me on hold for 10 minutes. She comes back and she says, yeah, she's like, so yesterday we had an audit, so we put off filling all the controlled substances till today. And I said, okay, yeah, I understand. I said, but I have been out of it for 2 days, actually. I haven't been able to take it. So would you be able to give me like a roundabout time of when it could be filled? I said that we were going to fill it today. I have a line of 6 people that I am trying to help. I was like, I understand. I'm like, but you have to understand too that this is a medication I take daily and I haven't been able to take it for 2. Me off and says, it's not like it's going to be filled at 3 o'clock. It's going to get done. And I said, you don't have to be rude about it. You literally could have said that same exact thing not Rude.
Now, from the patient's perspective, I can see them being irritated with the pharmacist or pharmacy technician just being like, well, it's going to be filled today. Because at the very least, you could say like, hey, it'll be like a couple hours, or, you know, just give like a roundabout time, or, you know, if you really need to give yourself some time, just like say like, you know, 3-4 hours. Now, we also too are only hearing her side of the story, so who knows like if she was being nice on the phone or if she was like just like screaming at the pharmacy worker. But overall, this is why I think it is so important to make sure that when you are filling, especially like a controlled substance, that your doctor is sending it to the same pharmacy each and every time, because usually like it will be a lot easier to get those medications on time.
I took the drink and I threw it in his face.
So I got tagged in this video. If you didn't see it, this is basically a patient who has chronic back pain, who's on a maintenance narcotic. The provider sent in the wrong drug, basically. The patient took it and had a poor response. It seemed like it had an increase in potency or dose. And then the provider sent in the right drug a couple days later, and the pharmacist refused to fill it due to that recent pickup a couple days prior. The patient was angry at the pharmacist and threw a drink at him, and apparently thinks that it's okay to assault healthcare workers. So first, let's go over corresponding responsibility. This is a federal law. In order for a prescription to be considered as valid, it has to be issued for a legitimate medical purpose by a practitioner acting in the usual course of his professional practice. The responsibility for the proper prescribing and dispensing of controlled substances is upon the prescribing practitioner, but a corresponding responsibility rests with the pharmacist who fills the prescription. This is a difficult situation for a pharmacist to be in because we have to balance appropriate patient safety and care along with abiding by federal and state laws and policy at which we work, and then also protecting our license. What if a pharmacist against their clinical judgment approves a fill in a situation like this, and say a patient purposely or accidentally takes both medications and overdoses? The pharmacist is held liable. In Indiana, if you get your license revoked, you cannot practice as a pharmacist, and you have to wait for 7 years before you retake your boards and apply for a new license. In this situation, we're choosing between the inconvenience of having to fill your medication at another pharmacy and then potentially someone's license and livelihood. I will also say most pharmacists would approve the fill after a conversation and clarification with the provider. The pharmacist told you no because he was not comfortable filling the medication. That is not him bullying you, that is him doing his job and protecting his license. Bias and stigma exists in healthcare, and it's important to advocate for our patients, specifically for our acute and chronic pain patients and Suboxone patients. I'm not sure if this is what was happening in this scenario, but it didn't look like the case. However, I wasn't there. I am interested, however, to know what was accidentally sent in and what the patient was actually taking.
That refusal is not obstruction. It is legal responsibility. Now watch how often pharmacists catch prescribing errors before those mistakes reach patients.
Hi, this is the pharmacy. We're calling the doctor's office because we got a prescription for Percocet, but the patient's allergic to Tylenol. No, Percocet is not the brand name for oxycodone. Percocet has oxycodone and acetaminophen in it, which is the generic for Tylenol. No, we can't switch it to Vicodin because that also has acetaminophen in it. Do you just want regular oxycodone? Okay, just update that prescription and send that over to us. Thank you. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for Lantus insulin, but the directions are take 10 ml by mouth once a day. What are we doing here? Okay, so the direction should be inject 10 units under the skin once a day. Okay, we'll definitely update that. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for a 3-month-old for an amoxicillin, but it was written for amoxicillin 875 milligrams twice a day. I feel like that's a bit high of a dose for a 3-month-old. Oh, you just put it in a medication and you didn't calculate the dose? No, for this child, you're gonna have to calculate the dose. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for oxycodone for a patient who's on Suboxone. Only reason we're calling is because we didn't see any note about the patient stopping or holding their Suboxone. Oh, you didn't know that they were even on Suboxone. Okay, well, definitely talk to their primary care provider and then let us know if you want them to stop the Suboxone if they really do need the pain medication. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for a Flonase nasal spray, but the directions say take 1 tablet by mouth once a day. Did you mean the nasal spray, or were you trying to write for like the inhaler? Oh, it's supposed to be the nasal spray and it's 1 spray in each nostril once a day. Okay, we'll update that. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for a nitroglycerin patch, but the directions say take 1 patch under the tongue. Did you mean like the sublingual tablet? Yeah, no, the patch and the tablet work very differently. Like the patch you have to wear and the tablet you're gonna use under the tongue. Okay, so you want the tablets then. Okay, we'll update that. Hi, is this the doctor's office? This is the pharmacy calling because we got a prescription for a prednisone taper, but it looks like you're tapering up. Like you have the patient taking 1 tablet today, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Oh, you're asking me what's wrong? Well, usually, you know, with these tapers, we're trying to taper them off of it. So I'm just very confused that they wrote taper on the directions. So it's written completely wrong. Okay, just let me know what the taper is and we can update the prescription. I was tired. You guys need to see this.
Yesterday I had to take my son to the hospital and they wrote for Augmentin 50 milliliters every 12 hours for 7 days. At the hospital, I said, is this correct? 50 milliliters? Because that's a lot. I didn't even notice that it didn't have a string. So I called the hospital after we left. The nurse was nasty on the phone. Augmentin is a standard dose. And I said, no, this is a pediatric dose. It's not correct. They wouldn't send the e-script to the pharmacy. I came up to Kroger this morning. Pharmacist immediately calls. We got it changed. This is why when prescriptions are written and there's issues, pharmacists don't just fill it all willy-nilly.
Hey, I'm Ethan, I'm a pharmacist, and just for reference, just to show you, a lot of Augmentin bottles come in like 50 milliliter quantity. I could not imagine having a child drink a full bottle of this for just 1 dose. This is why when I tell people about the videos that I do about the doctor calls that I make as a pharmacist, none of them are like made up at all. This is why pharmacies cannot just be filling whatever the doctor writes, because if a pharmacist dispensed that bottle, well, first off, they would be dispensing, I think, like 12 bottles. So like that, I think there would be red flags already. But if like a pharmacist just blatantly gave that away, they would be in trouble. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We're calling because we got a prescription for tretinoin, but the patient's pregnant. Yeah, you're gonna have to do something different like azelaic acid. We're calling the doctor's office because you guys sent a prescription over for Furacet, but the patient is allergic to acetaminophen. Yeah, no, Furacet is not the brand name for butalbital. There is also other ingredients in it, like acetaminophen. Yeah, so please send us something else. Hi, this is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for methotrexate 2.5 milligrams, but the direction says take 6 tablets by mouth daily for rheumatoid arthritis. You're asking me what's wrong? Well, usually with this medication, especially for rheumatoid arthritis, it's going to be 6 tablets weekly. Why? Well, with this medication, you know, if they're taking it daily, it can actually cause liver damage, which we definitely don't want. Okay, well, update it to weekly. This is the pharmacy calling. We got a prescription for Ozempic, but the directions say to inject 50 units once a week. I was gonna assume, like, if it was 50 milligrams that you meant 0.5 milligrams, but for the 50 units, like, we just wanna make sure that you know what you're prescribing. Oh, so you're just starting this patient on it. Okay, so it's gotta be 0.25 milligrams once a week first.
Now throwing your drink at the pharmacist. Situations like this partly explains why there's a pharmacist shortage, particularly in retail. It also has to do with corporations purposely understaffing stores in order to make money and then also not supporting their pharmacists to do their job. This purposeful understaffing not only stresses the hell out of us, but also leads to patient inconvenience. This is why your prescription is not ready. This is why we didn't call you that we didn't have a prescription in stock. This is why we didn't have time to call your provider to clarify your prescription.
That is where inconvenience becomes structure. Reimbursement, ownership, and steering can weaken alternatives, then leave entire communities with fewer pharmacy choices.
Abuse of healthcare workers is out of control. My staff gets yelled at, cussed at, threatened almost every single day for prescriptions not being sent in, being sent to the wrong pharmacy, us not having it in stock, insurance not covering it. I've had a ton of people in my comments on my intervention videos ask, like, why doesn't my pharmacist do this? Like, where do I find a pharmacist like you? Like, how do you have time to do all of these consultations? Like, we're burnt out. I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. I have only been in practice as a pharmacist for 1.5 years, and I'm already looking for another job. I have 2 therapists. Last year, there was a span of time where I was having panic attacks every single day for a week or 2. My job is stressful. The healthcare system is not here to help patients. It is a for-profit healthcare system. This is corporate America. This is where corporations run healthcare. Providers and patients are both suffering. Like, what has gotten into the water to where you think that this is okay? To even after self-reflection, choose belligerence, disrespect, and assault. Like, one of my old pharmacy managers had a coffee thrown at her. One of my pregnant technicians was threatened with assault. We've had drinks thrown at the drive-thru. We've had bomb threats. Someone threatened to murder me because their prescription wasn't covered. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm tired of it. And behavior like this is never justified.
So I asked you guys, what are the worst placement experiences you guys had as students? And you guys did not disappoint. Starting off strong, it was my first surgery experience and the surgeon made a joke about saving the patient so he can date them. The pharmacist was missing in action and the retail manager would check scripts. That's a major red flag. left in a locked dementia ward with no RN. One agency nurse for the whole ward was punched by a resident, so by a patient, and was told by the uni or the facility not to report it because it was just an accident. Oh my God. Hospital preceptor got mad at me because I asked around for her. She was absent without notice. Far out. Why do they take on students if they're not like gonna cater for them or look after them? As a first year pharmacy student, I was asked to give MS2, which is the abortion pill, to a patient because the pharmacist wasn't around. Far out. This one makes me sad. Pharmacy resident preceptor shushed me when I wanted to discuss a patient in rounds. And you can imagine that this is in front of like everyone, like that this student got shushed. Like, how embarrassing is that?
That worker testimony, patient consequences, and training conditions belong in one test. Accountability means measuring corporate promises against staffing, workload, safety, and access.
I keep seeing like posts and TikToks, people like telling people not to go to pharmacy school. And it's like, it's not a bad job. Like, if I could go back to school or like go back in time, whatever, I would do it again. I would choose to be a pharmacist because like pharmacists are fucking baddies. The shit we know and like the magic we work behind the scenes, like, and it's not like in the hospital, at least it's not super like patient fronting. So we don't get, I would say, like burnt out in that regard. Cause like patient fronting jobs are like, they're a lot.
Safe pharmacies require more than patience. If this investigation helped, like, subscribe, and tell us what your pharmacy is experiencing.